Hello, Wildcard Improv. Thank you. If you have taken the time to watch this video, welcome in, welcome in. Woo, huzzah. Week 1 is in the books, and this is your chance to catch up and understand what happened, as well as maybe hear some special shout-outs for some students, everything like that. All the little fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Ooh.
If you weren't there this week, what's wrong with you? Come to the next one. You might get to participate. Play with the team.
Ooh.
Play with other teams. Play with a coach. We never know. But let's not lollygag. Let's talk about the first show of the week.
Ooh, our first show of the week this week was SECTA versus Clark. First show of the season.
First show of the season. They
Ooh.
started up hot.
They did. They really did. SECTA, I wanted to give, oh my goodness. One of my favorite games from that show was Slideshow. Ethan's energy was unmatched.
Crazy, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Did write down a quote from that. Skeleton guy, known for his skeletal structure, like the skull or the femur. Ethan, you are just a soundboard, man.
Yeah.
There's so many things you said like throughout the day where I was like, okay, you're cooking there.
Yeah, I had a line. I don't even know if I could say it. It's from Switch Interview, and it is also from Ethan. But it says, I don't even remember the context, but I remember laughing so hard. I think he's like a sergeant of some sort, and he goes, "My troops can't stand to be worthless hippies."
I also wrote down the worthless hippies thing. Just right there, useless, worthless hippies.
Yeah, no, it was
so good,
so funny. Ethan was cooking that show. Hijinks was a really good game, I think, from that show. I took that Clark had an amazing setup. I think. The movement was, Kazu was just moving all over the place during that one. So, Hijinks, obviously, high movement-based game. We want to see the physicality going, and Kazu perfectly captured how to do that, along with the rest of the team. Mackenzie was cooking. Jacob, super funny, too.
Oh, yeah.
We cannot sleep on Jacob.
Cannot sleep on Jacob.
And I want to give a bunch of credit to Matilda, but you might hear more about that later.
Matilda was in most of the shows.
Yeah.
Which also... Shout out to Matilda.
Shout out Matilda for being in most of the shows of the day.
I also want to shout out to you guys also. Playing Sideline as the first show of the season. Props.
Yeah. Yes.
Props.
Yes.
Hard props. So good.
Even if Kazu was freaking out during the word intergalactic.
It was so fun for the audience, though. I can't lie. Like, as an audience member watching that, I was like, it's right there. It's right there. But it was so good that I couldn't complain.
Next show after that was Valley versus LVA.
Asterisk, question mark.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. LVA managed to pull the win out of that game.
Yeah. LVA, our very real LVA team.
Our very real LVA team.
Which composed of 2 Del Sol kids and Valley Kid, I think? No.
I don't remember. All I remember, though, is it being a good game.
It was a very, very fun show to watch.
Over at Valley, they started off in a 9 out of 10 that I actually really enjoyed.
Oh my god. Guys, if you don't know who I am, I love when games devolve into other games.
Yeah.
Somehow this became I can do that better, which personally loved it.
Yeah.
Personally.
No. Oh my goodness. With Valley, the energy was Martin chose to start, which I thought was a big thing. I used to coach Martin, and so Mark going out and just going for it was super, super cool to see, especially in 9 out of 10. That's a game where like you don't always have performers who are always willing to like say challenge. So to be willing to just start off the game, that's a lot of growth. So a little bit of credit to Martin right there.
Yes.
Also, Doc was cooking in that game.
Oh my god, Doc just cooks every scene that they're in. I coach Doc, so I have a little bit more opinions on this. But my god, watching that kid go on stage and just do things, I'm like...
Doc shines most in games where he's allowed to be his isolated self.
And talk.
And just rant. And 9 out of 10 is the perfect chance for that. I think they eventually got into a bit where it was like
Overism.
Overism.
That's what it is. I wrote that down. I forgot. Doc also said this really funny quote while talking about overism, which was, you know what they say about being a hater? Well, being a hater can kill you. I don't remember the context of it, but I just remember being threatened. And I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Also, sound effects. That was the next game they did from Valley side.
So that game was, like, somehow the best chaos I've ever watched. I don't know if the scene made any sense, but I can affirmatively say any scene where I managed to hear the quote, your wife talked to me. She's worried about you saying, dog water, is somehow an amazing scene. I was I was just watching it devolve into everything.
No, there's also the what was it, the KGB?
Oh yeah, no. One of my notes for sound effects is no doc, no more communism in all caps.
I also wrote down borscht over and over again. Yeah.
LVA knocked out a quick survivor, and then the
yeah.
game ended with a really fun little first line, last line, which we had one of the bits being, I think it was Shadow and Robert Pattinson who combined for the last bit, and I think Shadow was just roasting Robert Pattinson, and it was so funny. So credit to both teams for that one.
Both teams.
Good show.
Moving on, we got Sierra Vista versus Del Sol. If I sound biased, I apologize. I do coach at Del Sol.
I'm going to stop your bias.
Thank you.
I will go pro ham on Sierra Vista.
Oh no, Sierra Vista, Griffin dude. Holy cow.
Griffin was cooking.
Oh my god. Dude, I was cackling at every single thing that came out of that kid's mouth. Oh my god. Bangin' Brian.
Yeah, no, that's the one I was looking at. So Griffin was this was a game of, what was this?
Advice panel.
I rated this a really high one. I was really proud of this. Griffin was his name was Bangin' Brian. With the quote onto why his name is Bangin' Brian being specialist in onomatopoeias. And it was so funny just watching all of it go as it did. And then I think one of the other characters, someone was
was No Arms Andy?
No Arms Andy, who later on went to point out that his sister is named Two Armed Anna. Which that was Ethan who did that, and Ethan was so funny, that the idea that your sister is Two Armed Anna and was born like that.
Ethan also did have another banger line out of this, which is, I have prejudice against people without legs. I also want to give a shout out to Taki, who is also playing for Valley this game, who played such a grounded character for this game. She's from Del Sol. Dr. Avery. So they had this really, really great moment where
oh yes,
where it was like Dr. Avery and No Arms Andy going down on the floor. And it was like, breathe, 1, 2, and then Ethan just out of nowhere just goes, that's the number of arms I don't have.
There was a game of What Else You Got in this one. And one of the bits I had was, I don't even know how we got to this line, but at some point, I think this was the action to some degree. It was something like
looking through binoculars.
It was looking through binoculars, and Griffin's justification for that and What Else You Got was dual monocles. And which is literally just glasses. So goofy.
So
I have Taki with a quote that I really liked in that one, which was, I'm eating food and I'm missing my mouth.
Wait, before we move on, I do want to shout out Del Sol just one more time, because we had a student who's never done a show before, and this was their first show. So Roman, you cooked so hard through that whole show.
Yes, Scenes from a Hat, Roman, you had one of my favorite bits in it, and I don't know what the suggestion was, but you went like this. Like drilling. And it was so funny because no one understood what you were doing until you said, like drilling. And that's my style of comedy is the driest possible thing that you could do, and it will make me cry laughing.
It was so good.
So, yes. And then we're going into the next show,
which is West Tech versus Career Academy.
Yes. So this was a show that comprised of 6 West Tech students.
And an 8th grader.
And an 8th grader being one of them. So shout out Kayla. Oh my goodness. Super, super good. This was probably, I think, my favorite show of the week.
Oh my god, we got another 9 out of 10 out of this too.
Yeah, we did.
Which, oh my god, they were so funny.
Yeah, we had a family dance battle. So that 8th grader Kayla is related to Chelsea, president over at West Tech, and they had a family footloose dance battle on stage, and it was kind of intense. We didn't declare a winner, so I think the way it stopped was someone became the floor.
Oh yeah, someone became the floor, someone became the shoes, someone became like something.
Chelsea has the quote of, I'm Kat's hair and only personality trait.
I also want to point out there was multiple really funny quotes out of West Tech with someone going, I teach kindergarten students. Someone challenges like, I am kindergarten students, plural. And I was like, yeah, there we go. I also just want to point out, one thing that I really want to commend West Tech on is your guys' teamwork is exceptional.
Yeah.
Especially with like that final bit of 9 out of 10, like just building and building and building and building. That's like peak improv to me. Like that is like the best kind of improv. Like it doesn't matter what game you're playing. If we see camaraderie and teamwork, it's just like the golden sort of dealie.
Yeah, no, a lot of my quotes that I'm reading through this, a lot of what I'm impressed by is a lot of that teamwork, and that shows, right? I mean, being able to have a show where there's 6 people from the same school, but like showing that like, oh, they really love working together, like they clearly do it a lot. That was massive. Like you could tell how much they enjoy working with each other and how much they practice. So that was really, really awesome. So we really do commend that type of stuff.
Also, West Tech being fully student-led. My God.
Last little bit that I want to throw out. They did 185 as a surprise game.
I think I was backstage for this.
So we didn't have time to do a to-do rep that they wanted to do. So expect West Tech to do a to-do rep. So if you want to watch one, watch West Tech's show, because I'm assuming they're going to go for it. But they did a 185, and oh my goodness, they all killed it. They all just went out over and over and over again. And I was like, this is amazing to watch. Like, usually you throw out a game that's puns, and you get a lot of like,
Yeah.
They just did it every single time, and it was magnifique.
Wait, before we move on, I have like 2 other notes that I want to point out. They're evil twin. Oh my God. Wow. So good. Because I think a pitfall that a lot of people fall into when you play evil twin is the twins are like literally the same. And I was like, these are so good. And you could tell they just knew how to like rile each other up, which I thought was really fun to watch, if that makes sense. Then they both did hijinks. That's the other thing they did. I just wanted to talk about this because there's just the line of, I enjoy subjugating the human race, and that is like the only note I wrote about that scene.
Yeah, my notes aren't even, I don't even have quotes. Mine are just like things like, it's like impeccable movement on setup scene. So good. Like, that's all it says. It's just, I think usually if I'm writing notes that are that like undetailed, it usually means I'm just enjoying the scene too much and I'm forgetting to write things.
Oh no, I'm the same way. If I'm writing quotes more than I'm writing notes, it's because I'm like tickled. It's very funny. There's also this one line, don't laugh. There's also this one line that someone said where they're like, how did you open that? And then someone just went, with gravity, and then proceeded to do the riff, and I was like, cinema. That's cinema to me.
Okay. So our last show of the evening, it was our inaugural Wildcard show. Ooh, look at us.
We said that at the same time.
Wow.
We're synced up.
Like our mics.
Mics.
Oh! That was actually unintentional.
That was great.
I'm so proud of us.
We're cooking.
Okay, cool. So, oh my goodness. Wildcard show, it was so good. We had 5 different alumni, coaches, and such, and there was one whole student in it, which I said we would come back to. Matilda! You did amazing, and we are still in sync. Matilda, you did amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Literally, that's really one of my biggest notes from that show was, despite being surrounded in like, I don't want to say like star power, but like a bunch of people who are really experienced, Matilda was cooking.
Oh my God.
The entire time, especially for a student like Matilda who backstage was like, oh no, there's no way. Yeah, like every single line we said, or like any game, that was awesome to see how hard Matilda was cooking.
You are so adaptable, Matilda. Like being on stage with you, I was like, this kid is so funny.
Oh.
I was on stage.
I forgot you were in the How did you feel about
Oh my God, it's so good. Shout out to Mick for so for those of you who weren't at the Wildcard show, whenever a team lost a game, they had an ailment added to them.
Yeah.
Poor Mick was the unfortunate brunt of all of those ailments. What was it? The dead fish.
So Mick, by the end of the show, had to do the dead fish in all scenes, speak in a JFK accent, and
give the Gettysburg Address.
And give out the Gettysburg Address while Roman was figuring out who won the show.
Who won the show. And then Faye, also shout out to Faye, who also got ailments. Faye got, oh my God, what was it?
Faye was supposed to get, I think the JFK accent.
Oh yeah, Faye got, but they traded.
They traded ailments because Mick did not want to do the dead fish any longer.
So then they became the dead fish. Shout out Faye for being the dead fish.
Overall though, I think it was a really good show. We got to see our first backwards scene of the season, which was insanely good. I think everyone was just coming out. Backwards scene was one of those ones where we got one of my favorite things in improv. Sometimes there's games where there will be like an overwhelming amount of students on stage, right? There might be 6 people. And in a game like Backwards Scene, that's when you can take on a really obscure role as being a picnic basket or clouds or something like that.
The wind.
Yeah, just for a little bit, just for like 20 seconds.
It's
oh my goodness.
really good.
And there was a lot of that, and that's awesome. I love seeing just building the environment as a whole human.
Yeah. Also, one thing I want to point out to the kids who were able to watch the Wildcard part, one thing that I think a lot of coaches, like when you watch them perform, is just the like vast amount of energy you're gonna have as a performer. If there's any one thing to learn from watching improv, learn how to just keep pushing yourself as far as you can go, because it makes for really good shows.
This is true.
That's parting wisdom from me.
Overall, everything was really good. I didn't have every single game was awesome. I highly recommend you guys watch these Wildcard shows.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You're missing out, dude.
Actually,
yeah, you are.
You are. They were cooking. Okay, so our last little bit of this show, I think.
The show.
Ooh,
we're official.
We're official. We're officially a show that we haven't even come up with a title yet.
I'll come up with it. It's okay.
in the editing room.
Post editing.
Wildcard
podcast.
Episode 1.
No, there has to be something better. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. So what is Mia? I'll ask you. What is something you think any student or anyone can adapt into their improv that you think will always help them be a better performer?
Your relationship to each other is so important. No matter what game you play, the biggest thing that makes an audience invested in what you're doing is how you guys are talking to each other on stage, whether that's your characters, or out of it. We can tell. I think like the biggest example is if you look at West Tech, they have so much fun on stage by pure virtue of they have such a good relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not even just talking like interpersonally. When you're watching a scene, like the biggest one I could talk about is their interrogation scene was so good for the sole reason that did they play the game correctly? No. Was I entertained by it? Yeah. Because they were just so invested in just like, I want to make you look good and you want to make me look good.
Yeah.
And also I want us to have a really stupid connection, like I'm the good cop, this is the bad cop. Look at my clipboard where I'm showing you all the answers. I thought that was great.
Overall, it was that game was
so good.
Hilarious.
Hysterical.
But yeah, no, that is truly a huge note. Yeah, your relationship with each other, not in just scenes, but like outside, like being friends with your teammates. That's huge. It's so big. I think like most of the best schools I've ever seen are people who like genuinely hang out with each other, because you just have such a good bond with this person that you can understand how they think, where they're going and stuff like that. And that's a sense of practice and like really trying to make that camaraderie with your team. So I highly recommend that stuff for you guys. Like
Improv,
really be friends with these people you perform with. Like
improv was the friends we made along the way.
That was the real improv all along.
That's the real improv all along. I think
I've heard Roman probably make that joke 7 million times.
And the worst part is it's true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Because you can't.
So thank you guys
so much for watching.
Man.
Smash that like button in the face.
Yes, we will be uploading on this channel going forward. We'll try to cut them down a little bit shorter. We apologize. But Mia's going to be kind enough to put timestamps in
Mia
for everybody.
Mia will put timestamps. Chat, if you guys see sorry, chat is also just something I keep saying. If you see silly little like just edits in there, I have fun.
Ooh, can you edit in Lord Farquaad for no reason right now?
Sure. It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I also want to say, guys, if you have like things you want to put in these episodes, let us know.
Ooh.
We love good segments and bits. We take viewer requests, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And we read our comment section. Like a good YouTube channel.
Like a good YouTube channel.
That hasn't gone big yet.
No, not yet.
All right.
Hey, if you subscribe, you're going to be one of the first people here.
That's everything.
Yeah.
You have a great day with the rest of your life. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Good job, chat.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Woo.